always at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and this is exciting because we had a lot of great news coming out of training camp once again. A lot of cool stuff to talk about, Alex.
Tons of great stuff to talk about. Almost couldn't talk about them, but you know what? We find a way. We persevere. That's what we do here on the Cutback. That's what the Cutback crew does.
Yes.
You see them persevering to get into the live chats, right? You see them persevering to watch the replays, and you should too. Hit that subscribe button right now and become a member of that wonderful, wonderful Cutback crew. Hit that notification bell too. That way you're notified every time our videos go live, every time we live stream, which is 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Fridays. For now, that will be changing in the future. And we got to start off the coverage with the typical DNPs, right? The do not practices, the guys who weren't on the field today. You had Azeez Al-Shaair, who it's now come out and it's being reported that, again, we did avoid catastrophe, folks. Congratulations, the injury bug has not yet quite struck to the severity that it did in all of 2020. It's just a knee sprain, looking like 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll get into a little bit more detail on that here in a bit. Tim Harris Jr. is now officially diagnosed as a groin injury, right? So he's kind of sitting out right now. He's taking his time getting back because those pesky groin muscles. You know what I'm talking about?
Groin. You got to stretch the groin.
Got to stretch that groin out. Dante Johnson out with a foot. Michael Pruitt still out with the calf. However, he was doing some stuff on the sideline. And then Deebo Samuel also dealing with a little bit of a groin issue and took a little bit of time off. They didn't do as much drills and activities, more some conditioning stuff and just kind of loosening things up. Ebukam was back at practice today. That was great to see. Again, people started panicking a little bit when we saw that, but it is what it is. Dante Johnson, he left with foot soreness on practice on Monday. It's kind of just day-to-day right now for him.
Yeah, I think the big news is really that Shaair and Tim Harris are going to be out for a few weeks. I mean, that is the big takeaway from the injury news. Once again, though, no catastrophe. We're not getting coltsed with the big time injuries. So this is kind of normal. This is what you expect from training camp. This is a big blow to Tim Harris. His chances of making this roster have seriously diminished. For Azeez, I think Azeez was a comfortable enough player, in his position that he will be fine. We're still going to be fine for him, so I'm not as worried about him. But I think this was a big catastrophe for Tim Harris as far as his chances to make this roster, because I think he was very much a bubble player. So him not being out there, being able to compete, the only thing he's got going for him is it appears the rookies are still struggling a little bit. Deommodore Lenoir is starting to come on, but Ambry Thomas is struggling in a big way, which can be expected. He didn't play the entire season last year. So knocking off rust, picking up the system is what happens. There's going to be a lot of competition at the cornerback position. I know the 49ers worked out 3 guys I've never heard of, which was a far cry from Dre Kirkpatrick, who they had worked out before. So
and apparently they just signed a guy as well. So they did just pull the trigger and bring in B.W. Webb.
That was one of the guys I've never heard of.
Yep.
Thank you for that. So
I got you.
This is definitely Brian Allen in incognito. BW is some sort of formerly known as type thing. I don't know. I'm just playing. I have no idea what BW Webb is about.
Let's put it this way. His first 4 years in the league, he played a grand total of 10 games in 4 years.
Yeah.
His last 2 years, he did get a lot more run and a lot more opportunities. 2018 with the Giants, he started 13 games, and then 2019 with Cincinnati, he started 12 games. Neither of those defenses are anything to write home about, though.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's a veteran presence, but his chances of making this roster are not good.
No, not good. Not good at all. You might be putting it very, very
can't
nicely.
Body.
Yeah, it definitely can't body.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Shaair, right, it's not looking like it's going to be a long-term concern. Shanahan kind of talked about they didn't really get an exact diagnosis of what it is, but the time frame and the timeline and the timetable for the sprain that he has is about 2 to 3 weeks. So probably a low-tier sprain, not anything too crazy to worry about. Some minor tearing and stretching of that ACL ligament most likely. They didn't come out and say it's an ACL sprain per se, so it could just be an all-over the type of knee situation where they're not quite sure what it is yet. And just based on some of the tests that they ran, the initial tests, they may not feel there's any severe damage, which is why they're just diagnosing it as a knee sprain.
Kyle said he saw the report, didn't really, didn't go into it too much, just said that it was a knee sprain and there was no ACL tear. Yep. So there you go.
Great news. Fantastic news.
Oh, yeah.
Tight end Michael Pruitt, on the side doing some rehab work, right? Debo Samuel working with the strength and conditioning staff. Really just trying to prevent future problems and future issues, especially when you hear groin. Whenever you hear groin, I flash back to freshman year with Coach Rohde. And then when I start flashing back to Coach Rohde, I remember those groin stretches and groin exercise. You got to get that groin healthy. And it's important because trying to run with tight hamstrings, tight quads, tight glutes, tight groin muscles is not fun. And if you pull one, that's going to be it's major amounts of setback, especially when you're a skill position player that is required to run a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, he had 5 good days of practice, so him taking days off to make sure that he doesn't have any sort of a pull or problem with his groin is going to be just fine. Not worried about this. Let's see how they take care of it. I think it's encouraging the fact that he was out there still working out and wasn't completely off the field, but doing some light work on the side means he's rehabbing, and they think that he's in a position where he can get healthy here pretty soon.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You just want him to get healthy here pretty soon, especially with the fact that he was one of those guys, right, that last year dealt with all of the injuries that he dealt with from before training camp even started, or before practice even started, to once games got going, to once he got on the field, right, gets a couple games in and then goes right back down again. Just ease your way in, right? Nice and easy. Just tap it in, right? Just get a little tappy, a little tap-a-roo. So that's good to see. I'm glad that they're, again, the theme this year, monitoring. They are monitoring players heavy. They're making sure they don't overwork players. They don't want to run into the problems of last year. And as of right now, it looks as if the injury bug has passed potentially out of Santa Clara and into Indianapolis. You hate to see it, but as a 49ers fan, you don't mind it not being your team.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're just hoping that no serious injuries happen. You understand that these things you have to manage, and you just move on as you go. These are expected things to happen in training camp, muscles and that kind of sort of thing. Yeah. And so far, so good. Fingers crossed.
Fingers double, triple crossed. Yeah. Please just keep it that way. And then the one that's on everyone's mind, right? The conversation that everyone wants to talk about, and everyone taking plays and blowing them into proportion and out of proportion and losing their minds. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback watch 2021 in full effect again today. And again, Trey Lance coming out to a hot start, having a really good practice, doing a lot of good things, completing a lot of balls. I think it was 14 straight at one point.
13
straight at one point. My apologies. Good correction there, sir.
Yeah.
Including what many people described on the Twitter sphere and the Facebook sphere as the greatest 40-yard off-platform throw they've ever seen, and then the best throw in camp so far. Yeah. Maybe the best throw in camp. There definitely could be the case. I haven't seen any of the throws, so it's hard for me to say for sure. But I saw a clip of the actual throw. Definitely not the greatest throw I've ever seen. A really, really good throw. Potentially even a great throw. But we just need to calm down, everybody, and just take your time.
Well, it was a great throw.
It was.
It was. I mean,
really good.
He's moving left. He throws off platform. What I liked so much about it was the touch. The ball was in the perfect spot for Sherfield to be able to reach out, and he could get it. He had space. He had defeated, Jonas Griffith. There was Tony Jefferson was nowhere to be found. So once again, this is Trey finding a mismatch, locating it, and then executing.
You want that.
100% you want that, and this is exactly what you're looking for out of your rookie quarterback. You have the opportunity. He should be defeating these guys, these number twos. The one takeaway I had too is because I said this, in our previous episode, was I wanted to see Trey be consistent in intermediate routes. We did get some context on this, and today he was 13 of 14. The one miss was deep down the field to Richie James. However, he was very good underneath. He was good in the intermediate passes, which is good because that's what I've been asking for, the rhythm. If he's going to have these rhythm, plays, and he's going to be able to do that consistently and still hit these touch passes down the field, yes, he's going to close the gap on Jimmy Garoppolo. Mm-hmm. So that is something that I really enjoyed hearing, enjoyed seeing. I want to see more of it. I want to see consistency, and I want to see it in the games. But if that happens, yes, Trey Lance is going to be up there. This is all the people that have been telling us Trey Lance is going to start day one. This is the kind of stuff you need day in and day out. And so far, he's had a fantastic camp. He has come out and just blown the socks of everyone. I mean, we always knew the athleticism was going to do it.
Yes.
But now we're starting to see some of the other stuff. Some of the fact that it was a touch throw, I think is fantastic.
That's the big thing. That's been my big concern. You know what my concerns are with Trey Lance. That's been my big concern is the touch stuff, the footwork, all of that stuff on that play. All of it was demonstrated. He did all of it correctly. Everything that was supposed to happen happened. His receiver gets a ton of separation. Yeah. And he puts the ball where it's supposed to be. which is your job as a quarterback.
Right.
And he did it to perfection on that play specifically.
I mean, it can't be poo-pooed, and we can't just sweep this under the rug because it was a fantastic play.
I don't appreciate the people making it seem like it was more than it was, like the greatest throw they've ever seen.
Right.
Those people, because I'm expecting something nuts, like pressure in his face, off balance, off platform, like this tight window throw, and then I watch the clip and I'm like, okay, that was great. Can we not? Don't take something that's great and try to make it like magical, like legendary. Like this is the beginning story of the legend that is, as some people are putting it, and a couple NFL insiders said, Patrick Mahomes 2.0. Don't do that. Don't do that. There's no point to do that. Don't set the bar so high, right, that if he doesn't reach it because you set an astronomically, ridiculously, stupidly high bar, that you then turn on Trey Lance at the drop of a dime or in a heartbeat because he's not Patrick Mahomes 2.0. That would be like the dream, right? If this guy's Patrick Mahomes 2.0, that would be great. But we don't, I mean, if he's just a top 10 quarterback in the league in his first 2 or 3 years in the NFL, this is a home run.
Too late, Alex. He was the 3rd overall pick, and the expectations are that he's going to win multiple Super Bowls and be at that level. But he's not Patrick Mahomes 2.0. You know what he is? Trey Lance 1.0.
Thank you.
That's what we can expect from Trey Lance, is for him to be a great player. That's what he's 100% going to be. I'm always going to be behind this guy because I do believe in him and his abilities and what he can do. And I also believe that Kyle Shanahan's going to get this right. And he said in his press conference, they asked, when is Trey Lance going to have the opportunity to take over? When he feels he's the best option as the best quarterback on the team, and he's the best option to win football games. When that happens, there will be no question, and Trey Lance will take over. That will also be good for the players in the locker room, because when the players in the locker room can see it, then they'll support it. Right now, they support Jimmy Garoppolo. They're behind Jimmy Garoppolo because they know what Jimmy can do.
And they see the potential of Trey Lance and the great things that he can already do.
Yeah, they see it, but they have to be convinced.
Correct.
And the way you convince it is by getting out there and doing it when football matters, when games matter.
Every day, and when it matters.
And then the big news also was that Trey Lance took a snap with the first team. Yep. To put context on that, it was a run play. And it's a run play that only is going to get run by Trey Lance. So Trey Lance actually ran it with the first team, the second team, all the teams, because he wanted all the offensive linemen to run it because it's a play they need to run. It's something new. That is cool. That is a good sign. That means we're going to see Trey Lance in football games this year.
In packages. They're going to have packages and specialty stuff for him to do.
It makes the most sense. If you're going to have 2 successful quarterbacks, you use both quarterbacks. They have different skill sets, and there's going to be a lot of stress on a defense if you have to prepare for both of these guys and what they do. So, yeah, I like it.
No, I enjoyed that as well. Shanahan talked also about the 7-day installs, right, and how they break everything down. I liked that. I like that in-depth analysis, especially the two of us as coaches. Hearing him talk about how the installation process works and just the process behind it, what goes into it, the time frame, what he's planning for. Again, for us, makes sense. Hopefully for the fans, it shines a little light on the fact that, why you go through the basics, why you establish the little things. The stuff that we've been talking about since before training camp back in OTAs.
Yeah, it is. It's all a process. You wanted to implement it in OTAs, and like Jimmy Garoppolo said, there's even differences in the offense this year than it was last year. Every year, Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan change this offense a little bit, and things change. So does he have a mastery of this offense? Yeah, he does, because he got it all in OTAs, and that's what Trey's trying to learn. But that is the point. You go through this, and you get these guys to learn the way that they're supposed to. And when you work through the steps, then everything makes sense. If you skip steps, then it's a little bit harder for a rookie to learn. It's a little bit harder for these other players that are new to pick up what's going on. They're doing a bang-up job. These coaches are fantastic. They're getting these guys in positions where they can be successful, and they're going to be successul. I have a lot of faith in this organization, this coaching staff, and these players. That's why I have so much faith in Kyle Shanahan. That's why I don't get too over the top about, Trey Lance is going to start here or Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start here, because I know that I have faith in Kyle Shanahan, that when Kyle Shanahan decides to pull the trigger, it'll be the right time. And when that time comes, watch out, NFL, you're in trouble. And even while we're getting ready for that point, watch out, NFL, you're in trouble, because this team is built to win and win now.
Yep, and for years to come.
For years to come.
For years to come. Then there were two names being involved in team drills. Dee Ford for the second straight day, and looking mighty, mighty quick, getting some pressures on Jimmy Garoppolo in the first team sets, chasing Trey Lance out of bounds, looking like potentially the old Dee Ford is there. We've been on this train since the season ended that if Dee Ford's healthy, this team is going to take the next step. And I'm getting really excited.
Yeah, and we did a breakdown video where we talked about, kind of the impact he could have on the team in the future. And we broke down film, and we got a little bit of criticism. Oh, Dee Ford's going to retire. He doesn't look retired. And when you don't retire, you're chasing players out of, to the sideline, and a athlete like Trey Lance, that is a good sign for us, because if Dee Ford's going to be out there and getting after these agile and mobile quarterbacks, be afraid, because you got Samson Ebukam, you got Nick Bosa, you got these guys that can now put pressure, and that's not including these linebackers who are very fast. You play games with these defensive ends and these linebackers, you can contain these mobile quarterbacks now. So Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson can't get outside the pocket. Stafford's having a little bit of a thumb issue there, so the Rams are going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Yep.
And the 49ers are going to be able to tee off on these guys. So I'm looking forward to it. The Dee Ford thing is so huge. Obvious pass downs, be afraid, be very afraid, because these guys are coming after you. Forget NASCAR. These guys are drag racers out there. They're coming after you in a whole other way. It ain't going to be a funny car when they hit you.
No, it's going to be a very fast, very big, very strong.
Very furious.
Very furious. Too fast, too furious. Look, the other name, Jalen Hurd.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
Jalen Hurd made his team drill debut today, doing some 11-on-11 work. He didn't have any targets. All right, he jumped off sides once.
Yeah.
I think it was his first snap, wasn't it?
Yes, first snap.
So first snap, jumps off sides, which very well could just be anticipation and anxiety.
100%.
But it's also we're thinking probably due to the fact that they've been having cadence issues, both the first team and the second team, because of how elite this defense is and how solid this defense is.
Yeah, they're switching up cadences pretty frequently now, and now they're getting out of the unscripted offense, so it's getting a little bit more complicated. But yes, you have to make sure these defensive linemen don't know exactly when to get off the ball. Put your offensive linemen in positions to be successful. Jalen Hurd, of course, was going to be excited to do this. This is the first time he's done 11-on-11 drills since 2019 preseason. Since they went to practice the Denver Broncos. So, of course, he was going to be excited. He needed to get into this, and I'm telling you, this guy looks good. I can't wait to see him in future 11-on-11s. I'm not really worried about him not getting targeted. They're trying to break him in. They're trying to work him in, and when it comes time, he's going to start showing out. And that's when the excitement comes in, and there's going to be more than just me buying those 14 jerseys. I can tell you right now, it's not a myth. Okay, it's not. Believe the hype. It's coming.
Go check out the Jalen Hurd effect today
Yeah.
if you haven't already. It's our second most watched video on the channel
Of all time, yeah.
You won't regret it, not for a second.
No, it's very good. We talk exactly how Jalen Hurd can and will be used this year. It's fantastic.
It is. It's really great. And speaking of receivers who are having fantastic camps so far and getting a lot of praise and just the hype around him, Trent Sherfield. Trent Sherfield is getting a lot of discussion around him right now.
Yeah, and we've had listeners who have been on this, about Trent Sherfield. I'll tell you, I watched his presser today. It's hard not to root for someone like Trent Sherfield. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. The fact he shows up at 5:30 in the morning and leaves at 8:30 at night, he's putting in the time. Listening to Richie Hightower talk about him and that he's starting on all 4 special teams, and then you hear Kyle Shanahan say, you know what, he's not that bad at receiver either. And when you're that good at special teams, it makes it hard on everyone else. That's what we've been talking about. Richie James, Jawan Jennings, you guys better tear it up on special teams. You're not going to be on this unit. So I thought that was very interesting. But Sherfield's making plays, and the one complaint for Sherfield from us, and this is completely just what we saw on film, is it didn't look like he had the explosiveness to get down the field. We thought
correct.
There was times he just caught the ball underneath and then they tackled him. It didn't look like he could get a lot of separation. He's getting separation in 49ers camp. Is that scheme? Is that Sherfield being used the right way? Could be. Sometimes when you get a guy in a different system, they're able to be more successful. He said Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel run a better offense here. They're more attention to detail, even when it comes to blocking. So he's really talking up how much different this is than Kingsbury's offense, which I love. So Sherfield, hey, if he's one of the top 6 guys, I love it. Special teams guy that can make this roster, that's good. If not, then that's okay. That means we got guys that are better than him, and he's showing up at camp though. So keep an eye on him. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what happens when he gets out in preseason. If it shows, this guy's going to make this roster.
Yeah, he is, and there's going to be some names that are going to be that we thought were a little bit maybe safer or closer to safer that may end up being ousted.
There's no one safe.
At this point, no.
No.
Not in that wide receiver room.
Another takeaway from what Hightower was saying, they were talking about he wants Brandon Ayuk to win this punt return job. He does. He brought it up. He said it's his job if he can win it. But he put everyone on an even playing field. He mentioned River Craycraft. He mentioned Kevin White. He mentioned Travis Benjamin.
Okay.
He mentioned Richie James. He said Richie James, of course, wants this job. But he said when it came to Travis Benjamin, he said he's the only guy on the team and one of the only guys in the league that has 4 punt returns for touchdown. So don't think they're not taking notice of that. but all these guys are getting equal reps and getting opportunities. He said he's not going to make the decision. The player's going to make the decision with what they do.
I like that.
So they're going to give all these guys opportunities to do it. So it's going to be exciting because I think for once, punt return and kick return are going to be a big emphasis for this 49ers team.
Yeah, it very well is, and I'm excited about it because it's one area that we think there has been a weakness at, and they're finally, I don't know if they're finally like specifically addressing it, but they've brought in the pieces to actually address it and find the best option and have multiple options, right? You're not going to just rely on one guy to sit back there and just potentially fair catch, secure, and that's it. We're going to have guys who can make plays and hopefully set us up in great field position.
Yeah, and I think last year they thought they were bringing in Travis Benjamin exactly for that. To come in and get some of that done, and it just wasn't there. Now he did also bring up Elijah Mitchell and Aubrey Thomas when he was asked about it, and he said both of them are in the mix. Both of them are in the mix for special teams. It did not sound like they had a chance at this return job, but he was given that. Of course, they have an opportunity, but it sounded to me like they're going to be playing other areas of special teams.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Elijah Mitchell, it sounds like has been having a pretty good camp so far.
Fantastic.
And Thanos has been talking about how he looks like the second best running back in camp. I can't wait to see what he looks like in this run game. Yeah. Trey Sherman has been having big runs as well. Raheem Mostert is going to Raheem Mostert. We all know that.
Not worried.
So for me, that's just exciting. If Elijah Mitchell looks as good as everyone's saying that he looks, when we get there and are able to get our eyes on him, this makes this backfield even that much more dynamic, because think about the fact that you still have Jeff Wilson coming back at some point in time with this season. You have a 1-2 speed combination in Mostert and Mitchell. You have a 1-2 power combination in Sermon and Wilson. It's a poo-poo platter, right? Like you got whatever you need in the backfield. You can do whatever you want at any given time.
How dare you forget about Wayne Gallman?
How dare you? I apologize.
Now, the one thing with this, though, is Elijah Mitchell's running great pass routes.
He is.
Raheem Mostert had talked about this early in camp, that with Elijah Mitchell, he needed to slow down a little bit. He's actually outrunning his routes sometimes, and I think he's doing that. I got to see a little bit of him running routes today, and it was fantastic. He looked good. He looked smooth. He looked clean, cleaner than Trey Sermon running routes. So I think we've talked about that. I think Chapman was on this as well. Elijah Mitchell is the best running back out of the backfield right now, and we'll see what happens. But I do like him, and I think he has some ability. He's going to make this 53-man roster. He's going to make an impact on this team. Yeah,
the question will just be the impact, right? How big is it in year one? How much of a role does he take? We all know Shanahan likes his rotation. But is it going to be an A and B rotation, or is it going to be an A, B, and C rotation? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be by who they're playing and how they're running. Preseason is going to be fun to watch. Somebody's going to step above the other guys and reach that level. I don't know which one it's going to be, but somebody's going to get it done.
Yes, someone is definitely going to get it done. And there are some guys making the most of their one-on-one situations, their one-on-one opportunities. Anthony Zettel today going up against Trent Williams, pulled out a nice spin move, right? Shocked Trent Williams a little bit. Trent Williams gets a little bit surprised, kind of stunned by it, and then immediately stonewalls him, and then immediately takes that on Arden Key as well. Trent Williams, again, showing why he's so great and so fantastic. But guys when they're getting their opportunity to try and put something on paper, right, and push the rest of this D-line group, guys are making the most of their chances. You like to see that.
Yeah, he has to. And he caught him off guard because that's not something that he does. Anthony Zettel doesn't have that. He played for the 49ers in 2019. That's not a move that he typically goes to. So he waited and, bided his time and caught Trent Williams, moving upfield a little bit too strong, spun inside. That's fine. That's what happens. We also had the great battles on the inside with Alex Mack and Javon Kinlaw.
Yep.
In fact, Alex Mack pancaked Javon Kinlaw on the first play. Javon Kinlaw didn't like that. Play number 2, they got into a scuffle. Then later on, Javon Kinlaw took it back on him and put him in the ground, pancaked him. So there is a lot of battle there. I told everyone, Javon Kinlaw is an angry man this year. And when he's angry, you're going to be in trouble. This guy's going to be pumped. I did like the fact that Alex Mack, though, took control of this offense, and he was out there putting people on their back. He put DJ Jones on his back, too. That's not an easy feat. This offensive line is going to be stout because of players like Mack and the way that he's going to stabilize this offensive line. Here comes the run game. You thought you hated Jimmy Garoppolo before because he could hand off. Get ready. It might be increased because they're going to hand off a lot as long as this offensive line keeps moving people off their spots like this.
That's so scary to think about. And I saw someone was talking about this, and I think it was RSF 49ers who was talking about this and talking specifically about just the incredible center play that he was watching while he's been at camp. He was like, it's like watching nothing I've ever seen before. He's all, if you thought this O-line was great before, he's like, just watch it now operate with Alex Mack. It's at a completely different level. you and I were both really excited when they announced the Alex Mack signing. I just want to see it now. I want to see it in person because you and I both feel like he can change the entire dynamic of this offensive line.
Yeah, we saw what could happen with a player of Weston Richburg's caliber.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's better than Weston Richburg, so you have a better offensive line.
And healthier.
And overall just smarter when it comes to X's and O's.
Yes.
Nothing against Richburg because Richburg was really good.
Really good.
But this guy is a perennial all-pro type good, and Richburg was a borderline Pro Bowler. That's the difference.
Yeah, and this is going to change everything. This is going to open up so many things. This is going to make this team that much harder to stop vertically, stop horizontally, and then, again, force teams to have to respect play-action looks. You're going to have to come down and fill in the box when we're showing run, and we got run packages out there, which just means you're going to leave Debo, Ayuk, Hurd, Kittle, whoever use check, which, by the way, watching use check run routes, that dude is not a fullback the way he runs routes. Dude, that is a slot receiver running routes out there against linebackers. It isn't fair.
Oh, that was a tight end that's playing fullback now.
Dude, it's not fair at all. He looks just incredible out in open space.
Yeah, when you get these guys, they can do all sorts of things. You're just going to get them out there in space where they can make plays.
Yeah.
And that's what Kyle does better than anyone. He's going to scheme up some stuff. Him and McDaniel are already scheming. Think about a new Trey Lance play. Don't think they don't have tons of stuff.
This is the first day of 7 potential individual plays they're going to install with each unit per second and third team.
Oh, there's going to be lots of stuff.
Tons.
There's going to be tons of new stuff this year. Everyone in the NFC West is scared on defense. I guarantee it, because now they have to focus and pay attention to everything they're going to do. Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that.
That's always
good luck. It's not going to be great.
No.
Speaking of mistakes, Josh Rosen threw his first pick of camp today to James Burgess.
Okay.
So good job, Josh.
I want to more talk about the James Burgess, way to make a play.
It was.
Jimmy Garoppolo talked about this a little bit in his presser. He would be more worried if one side of the ball was dominating the other. And he said, in fact, in previous camps, offense would dominate one day, defense would dominate the next. He said now it's back and forth. And he said when he's been a part of teams that did this, which means he's talking about New England, when he's been a part of teams that did this, it was usually not good for everyone else, and it was good for the team that he was on.
Because you're adapting and adjusting day to day and growing off each other and building off each other and getting better.
It also means that both sides are really good.
Yeah,
because if one side was dominating, it would mean one side of your ball is weak. But when both are playing really well and making big plays, it means both sides are really good. And when you're really good on both sides, it's trouble for everyone else.
That it is. And you just got guys making plays everywhere, right? Ayuk has 6 catches on the day. Sanu has 3 catches on the day. You had, oh my goodness, who else was there? You had Sherfield with his big catches.
Sherfield had
his
good
big
catches.
play. I don't know why I just blanked on Sherfield.
It's okay.
We just talked about it. Got different receivers all over the place. Craycraft caught a couple balls today. Charlie Warner coming up on the stat sheet and making some catches today from Trey Lance. The ball's getting distributed around. It's not just going to a few guys, not just targeting a few guys. The ball's going everywhere, which has been the thing we've been talking about is there's a lot of options on this team, and there's guys who are going to need to show something in camp in terms of the route running, developing as a pass catcher and things of that nature. Those guys are starting to creep in and really starting to show something. These position battles are going to get very intense once we get into week 2 and week 3 of the preseason.
Well, they're also not scripting offense as much, so you're going to have opportunities where the defense doesn't know what's coming. The offense is going to have an advantage there, so they're going to be more reacting. That's why one-on-ones are so dangerous to watch when you're watching a DB getting covered by a receiver. The receiver knows where it's going. When it's in a game situation, there's a lot of variables, so the defender has a little bit of better chance. When it's in practice like that, it's a little bit different. So there will be opportunities for these skill players to make a position or make plays. And also just the fact that McDaniel and Shanahan are going to use every ounce of grass to get these guys open. And usually when you think somebody's not going to get the ball and they get the ball, that's the most important. Also, don't freak out that George Kittle's not getting the ball in camp. They don't need George Kittle to get the ball in camp. This is what we talked about years ago about the red zone. You don't need it. What George Kittle can do. You know when you're going to use him. You're looking to get everyone else involved and get them up to speed. George knows what his role is, and when it comes to game time, George is going to make plays. That's just what he does.
Yep, and I'm not worried about it at all whatsoever. Yep. And there have been people who've been talking about it. It's a nothing burger. It really is. It's not like George Kittle hasn't made plays. Right. We've seen the big catches. He's had big, huge catches deep over the top the very first day of camp. He's made plays.
Yep.
It's just not like every play or every other play or 3 or 4 times a practice. That means the team's better, folks. That means other guys are getting opportunities to make plays and making them. The fact that big plays are kind of getting spread around, right? Debo's made some big ones. Ayuk's made some big ones. Sanu's had some nice sideline catches that I've seen. You got Kittle making deep catches. You got Sherfield now blowing the top off the defense and showing some some burst there, which you love to see, and he's separating from Burgess and from Tony Jefferson. It's dangerous. That means there's talent everywhere.
That's what you're looking for. Versatility, everyone being able to make plays, and they're all being schemed to make plays.
Love it. You really, really do. And then speaking of other guys making plays, making the most of their opportunity, Kentavious Street still having a nice day. Had 2 nice pass rushes right against Lincoln Tomlinson, beat him a few times. Really making the most of his opportunities.
Yeah, Kentavious Street's going to have a good camp. I mean, he is. He's going to get his chance to get out there and prove it. Right now, he's sitting in a good spot to make this team. Let's see if he keeps it up. If he can, he'll make the roster, and he'll beat out these other guys. It's going to be tough. That interior defensive line is the roughest and the toughest in the league. The guys who come out, in front and in this position are going to be able to contribute for this team, and they're going to make an impact. And the ones that don't are going to land somewhere and get a nice job somewhere because they're good enough to start for any of these other 31 teams.
Absolutely. Defensively, another guy having a big day and a nice day was Jimmy Ward. People talking about how he was kind of just all over the place, flying around, sticking to everybody like glue. Almost had a sack, I think, and a pick, correct?
Yeah, Jimmy Ward's having a good offseason and a good training camp. I think everyone just expects it from Jimmy now. And that's what's going to happen. He's going to make plays. He's going to lock people up. He's the most versatile guy in the secondary. He can do whatever you want him to do.
That is so crazy to say now because it felt like not that long ago he was a liability. He has changed and developed so much in his time in San Francisco, man. He's almost like, to me now, like you knew how I felt about him back in the Harbaugh days. Wanted no part of him. I don't want to see him go.
Well, he understands the defense now, and he understands what's wanted from him.
Mm-hmm.
That was a problem. Trent Baalke played him out of position, wanted to play him in the slot, wanted to play him outside at corner. That's not his natural position. He's a free safety. And so now that he knows that he has a defined role and he can play where he needs to play and he knows what his job is and he doesn't have to learn so many different things, he's going to excel. Imagine that. You take thinking out of it, and these guys are able to play and use their natural ability and their instincts, and it takes over, and he can play well. And there's a reason he was a first-round pick.
I wonder what that reason was. Was it talent and versatility, right? And just the overall way you could use him in a scheme and the variety of ways you could plug and play him in the athleticism and the intelligence and all the things that he's displaying with the San Francisco 49ers now, potentially?
Yeah, pretty much.
Possibly?
Yeah. I mean, there's a real thing to him going from 25 to 20 to 1. He's gotten better with every number change. He can't go any farther down, so this is going to be the best Jimmy Ward we get.
Oh my gosh, we're getting
the number 1.
Final form Jimmy Ward, huh?
Yeah.
Pro Bowl Jimmy Ward?
Yeah.
All-Pro Jimmy Ward?
I don't know, maybe.
We'll see what happens.
I'll give you Pro Bowl. I don't know about All-Pro.
I'll go with Pro Bowl. I'll settle for Pro Bowl. If we get All-Pro Jimmy Ward, I might pass out on the podcast.
If we get All-Pro Jimmy Ward, we're probably going to go to the Super Bowl.
I like that. I like that a lot. Quest for 6, lock it up.
Yeah.
Lock it on up if we get Final Form Jimmy Ward. Yep, you'd love to see that. Anyone else standing out to you so far that you've seen?
I thought overall the offensive line together as a unit is standing out, the way that they're playing together. Because we've talked about that. They got to get that chemistry. They got to get that camaraderie, and it's there. And once we get that offensive line playing together, and they're not 5 individuals, but they're moving together in one accord, it's trouble for everyone else. If they have a bang-up job and they're the most impressive unit on the team with that great defensive line and that great defense and the way that they're going to scheme and run blitzes, this offensive line is going to protect Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance this year. They're going to have clean pockets. They're going to be able to make plays, and this team is going to be successful. I would say that is the key ingredient to this offense is that offensive line.
I would agree with you there. It has to be the O-line because they get to establish the run game and how effectively we run the football, and also making sure that when we are not running the football, we're keeping the quarterback's pocket clean, giving our quarterback time to throw and make plays either downfield, across the middle, on dump out, whatever it is, screens. No matter what it is, the O-line is going to set the tone for this team, just like the D-line sets the tone from this team. And the D-line's been having a good camp as well. Like you said earlier, and like Jimmy was talking about, this is a battle. Both sides going back and forth, improving on the previous day, learning from past mistakes, and trying to come out and course correct them the next day. Day 6 was lights out. Offense had some big moments. I wonder what's going to be in store for day 7.
You know what it's going to be. All-Pro Fred's not going to let it stand. He's going to go out there and make plays. Jason Verrett's going to go out there and make plays. Jason Verrett's been handling Brandon Ayuk pretty well. So these are going to be matchups to continue to watch. And as this goes, they're going to ratchet it up. This is only going to be, a couple days in pads. Once they get past that, the physicality steps up a little bit. You get used to those pads again, and you're getting used to playing football at a high level and high speed. But the trench warfare is going to be real, and it's going to be fun to watch. And whoever wins those in practice is going to win these battles and win overall in practice. And we know it's just about iron sharpening iron and getting better, but there is a little bit of a battle there and a little bit of bragging rights. They both want to be the best, but they're working together to be really great.
Yeah, they're going to be pushing each and every day. right? Javon Kinlaw getting into the little scuffle today. Expect more of those types of moments as the rest of the preseason and these practices progress, because both these sides want it. Both these sides want to establish themselves as dominant.
Except for the fact that Kyle Shanahan doesn't allow this at his training camps. Javon Kinlaw will be talked to by the veteran players. I guarantee it.
Accurate.
Fred Warner's going to go up to him and say, not so much.
Also, you just remember the knee. Don't forget about the knee.
Well, he does look up to all these defensive linemen, and with Fred talks, you're going to listen. So they're going to tell him, hey, we like the fire, we like what you're doing.
Channel it.
Yeah. Use that on the next play. You know how you put Mack in the ground later? Do that. That's a better way to handle. That's a better way to we don't want to lose you because you're making a mistake. And he'll fix it. Javon Kinlaw is a smart guy.
Oh, and he's just motivated right now. He's fiery. He's intense. Yeah, hungry is the right word. He's hungry. He wants squirrel. This. Is Alex Mack the squirrel?
No.
That's a big squirrel.
That is not a squirrel. If you think that's a squirrel, you're in trouble.
I'm just saying. It's a really big squirrel.
That's a bull.
The case. That is a bull.
You're going to get the horns if you don't watch out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Look, I'm looking forward to seeing what day 7 has in store, what the rest of this camp has in store, because so far, a lot of storylines playing out and unfolding, a lot of things going according to plan, and some surprises as well. Trent Sherfield stepping up, Trey Lance being as clean as he has looked so far. I'm really, really excited for day 10 when we get there. Yep. Because day 10 days in, pads, it's not going to be his first day. He's going to be extremely comfortable. We're going to get a really good look at what's going on with this offense, what's going on with this quarterback competition, and just how much more dynamic this offense is.
Everything is going to be cleaner, too. As you get through camp, everything cleans up. Mm-hmm. Everyone's effectiveness is better. Everything is just smooth and ready to go. It's more polished. And we're going to get to see more of a polished product. And then, so that's what's going to be fun, is seeing how they execute each play, how each, offensive player is able to do what they're supposed to do, how every defensive player does a corresponding move. If everyone's getting to the right fits, getting in the right position, how all 11 guys on each side of the ball work together. It is something beautiful to watch, especially if you appreciate football. Just seeing everyone do their jobs is there's some sort of magic to it. I'm curious how many times we get that from both sides of the offense and the defense. I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking for a lot of things. I'm not going to worry about mistakes. I'm going to look at technique and how these guys are, really developing. And I think they're going to be developing nice. I have a lot of faith in this organization and this coaching staff. So it's going to be fun, a lot of fun. It's
going to be tons of fun, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. So make sure you're subscribed. You've hit that subscribe button. If it's red, you haven't hit it yet. Make sure you smash that thing into oblivion. Hit that notification bell as well. That way you're notified as soon as the videos go live, 11 a.m. during the morning times, during that Pacific time, and then 5:30 p.m. on Fridays for now for our live streams and those occasional surprise episodes that come out in the afternoon, usually around 2 or other random times at some point. You don't want to miss any of the content. You don't want to miss any breaking news that may happen, and you're going to get it right here on the 49ers Cutback. We got it all. We're covering it all.
Yeah, and check out the merch shop. Go over there and check it out, 49erscutbackshop.com. You want to get, your 49ers inspired gear. People bought, 40 freaking Niners shirt today.
That's true.
So you want to get on that too and get that. And make sure you have your gear so you can support your team, support the 49ers Cutback Podcast, get that information out there because, it's a lot of fun. We want you guys to be a part of it. We like the interaction. We like the conversation. So make sure you always share your viewpoint. Make sure you're nice to everyone else. You can have a different viewpoint, but don't make it derogatory towards someone else because they're allowed to have their viewpoint too.
Accurate.
So just make sure you do that. And as long as you do that, it's all going to be fun.
This is a family. This is a community. This is a connection.
It is.
We connect here.
Yep.
Don't be doing that nonsense, but it's fine. You know what? Hey, everyone makes mistakes. We got this. We're bouncing back, right? Day 7 incoming. We're going to have all of it for you right here, 11 a.m. You don't want to miss it. And until next time, 49ers fans, you stay safe.
And remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.